Hello, everyone, and welcome back to World English Podcast, the place where real conversations help you build real English. I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo, and Mia, I want to tell you something embarrassing that happened to me last week.
Ha! Okay, please tell me everything.
So, I was at a social event, a networking event, actually, and someone walked up to me and said, "So, Leo, what do you do in your free time? What are your hobbies?"
A very normal question, and what did you say?
I said, I like music, and I like cooking, and then I just stopped and smiled, and there was a very long silence.
The one-word answer. I like music. Full stop. Nothing else.
Yes, and the person nodded politely and walked away to talk to someone more interesting. And I just stood there holding my drink thinking, I actually have so much to say about music. I have been playing guitar for 6 years. I have a whole recording project I'm working on.
But none of that came out.
None of it, because I did not know how to say it naturally in English. And the moment passed, and I felt like the most boring person in the room.
Leo, you are absolutely not boring. You just did not have the language tools to express how interesting you actually are. And that is exactly what today's episode is about.
How to talk about hobbies and projects in English in a way that is interesting, not just I like music, end of conversation.
Yes, we are going to give you real phrases, real structures, and real examples so that the next time someone asks about your hobbies, you light up the conversation instead of ending it.
I need this more than any episode we have ever done.
Before we start, please subscribe to World English Podcast and hit the bell. New episode every week. And share this with a friend who also gives one-word answers about their hobbies.
Share it with every interesting person who sounds boring in English. Let's go.
Let's start by understanding why talking about hobbies and projects is such an important English skill. Because some people think it is just small talk. It is not important.
And they are wrong.
Completely wrong. How you talk about your hobbies is one of the most powerful ways to make a real connection with another person, because hobbies reveal who you are, what you love, what excites you, what you are passionate about.
So when you talk about your hobbies well, you're not just sharing information, you're sharing yourself.
Exactly. And think about the conversations that you remember most, the ones where you felt a real spark with another person. I'm almost certain those conversations involved discovering something you both loved or learning about something new that fascinated you.
Yes, the best conversations I have had always involved passion, someone talking about something they really care about.
Yes. And when you talk about your hobbies with passion and detail, you become magnetic. People lean in, they ask follow-up questions. The conversation takes on a life of its own.
But when I say I like music, full stop, there is nowhere for the conversation to go. I've given them nothing to hold on to.
Nothing to hold on to. That is a perfect way to describe it. You've given them a closed door instead of an open one. And today, we learn how to open the door wide open and invite people in.
And this is also very relevant for job interviews, right?
Absolutely. In job interviews, especially in English-speaking workplaces, interviewers often ask about hobbies, and your answer tells them so much about who you are, your curiosity, your discipline, your creativity, your personality.
So the hobby question is never just about the hobby.
Never. It's about you, and how you express yourself says as much as what you say. So let's look at how to do this beautifully. Okay, let's diagnose the problem first. Why do so many learners give one-word or one-sentence answers about their hobbies, even when they have so much to say?
Because they do not have the vocabulary or the phrases?
That is part of it, but actually the bigger reason is that they do not know how to structure a hobby answer in English.
In many cultures, talking a lot about yourself feels like boasting, so people stay short, stay modest, say the minimum.
Oh, that is very true. In my culture, talking too much about your own interests can seem arrogant or self-centered.
Yes, but in English conversation, especially in social and professional settings, expanding on your answer is not arrogance. It is good conversation. It is giving the other person something to connect with.
So, the cultural instinct to be brief actually works against you in English conversation.
Exactly. And the second problem is learners often describe the hobby in the most general way possible. I like music. I like cooking. I like reading. These answers are technically correct, but they reveal almost nothing about you.
Because everyone likes music. Everyone likes food. These answers do not make you memorable.
Right. A memorable hobby answer is specific. It has detail. It has a story. It has an emotion. It makes the other person feel something.
So instead of I like music, I should say I have been playing guitar for 6 years and I'm currently working on my first recording. I mostly write melancholy songs, which is funny because I'm actually a very cheerful person.
Yes, now you are interesting. Now I have 10 questions. What kind of guitar? What does your recording process look like? Why melancholy? Is the album finished?
The detail creates questions. The questions create conversation. The conversation creates connection.
That is the whole chain. And today we are going to build every link in that chain with real phrases and real structures you can use immediately.
Okay, let's start with how to introduce a hobby, the opening line, because this sets the whole tone of the conversation.
The opening line, not I like music. What else can I say?
So many options. Here are some natural English phrases for introducing a hobby. First, I am really into something. For example, I am really into photography lately, or I have been really into cooking for the past few years.
I am really into. That sounds much more passionate than I like.
Yes, into suggests genuine enthusiasm, immersion. You are not just doing it, you are really in it.
What else?
Second, I have been doing something for a period of time. For example, I have been playing guitar for 6 years. Or, I have been running for about 2 years now. This immediately tells the person that this is a serious part of your life, not just a casual interest.
The time adds weight to the hobby. 6 years shows commitment.
Yes. And third, something is kind of my thing. For example, hiking is kind of my thing. Or cooking is really my thing. I spend most of my weekends in the kitchen.
My thing. That sounds very natural, very casual.
Very casual, yes. And fourth, I got into something when. This gives the origin story of your hobby. For example, I got into photography when I traveled to Japan 2 years ago. I could not stop taking pictures.
Oh, the origin story. That is immediately interesting. It has a beginning, a reason.
Yes, an origin story makes your hobby feel like part of a larger life story, not just an activity you do on weekends. And fifth, one of my favorite things to do is something. For example, one of my favorite things to do is bake bread on Sunday mornings. It just makes the whole week feel better.
That last sentence, it just makes the whole week feel better, that adds emotion. It tells me why you love it.
And that emotion is what makes you memorable. Anyone can say, I bake bread. But when you say, it makes the whole week feel better, suddenly I understand what baking means to you, and I connect with that feeling.
Let me try one. One of my favorite things to do is play guitar late at night when everything is quiet. It's the only time my brain fully switches off.
Perfect. That is beautiful, Leo. Now I understand not just the hobby, but why it matters to you. That's what we're aiming for.
It feels more vulnerable, more honest, but also more interesting.
Yes, the best hobby answers are a little vulnerable because they're real. They reveal something true about who you are. Now, after you introduce your hobby, you need to be able to describe what you actually do, because the next question people always ask is, oh really, what does that involve? Or what do you actually do?
And this is where I also get stuck. I can say I play guitar, but then I do not know how to describe what that actually involves.
Okay, let's look at some useful phrases for describing what a hobby involves. First, basically what I do is something. For example, basically what I do is write my own songs and then record them at home on a small studio setup.
Basically what I do is, that is a very natural way to start an explanation.
Yes, it sounds casual and clear. Second, it involves something. For example, photography involves a lot of patience, actually. You can wait for hours for the right light. Or baking involves a lot of science. The chemistry of ingredients fascinates me.
It involves. That works for any hobby.
Any hobby. And third, the best part of it is something. For example, the best part of hiking is reaching the top and seeing the view. Everything you went through to get there, suddenly it all makes sense.
The best part, that gets to the heart of why you love it.
Exactly. And fourth, what I love most about it is something. For example, what I love most about cooking is that it is creative but also practical. You make something beautiful and then you eat it. Nothing is wasted.
What I love most about it, that is a very natural phrase in English conversation.
Very natural. And fifth, it is more than just something, it is something. This is for when your hobby is not just an activity, it's something deeper. For example, for me, photography is more than just taking pictures. It's a way of training myself to notice beauty in ordinary things.
Oh, that is powerful. It is more than just. That elevates the hobby immediately.
It shows depth, and depth is what makes a person interesting to talk to. Let me give you a full example using all these phrases together. Ready?
Yes, show me how it sounds when you put it all together.
Okay, someone asks me, Mia, what do you do in your free time? And I say, I've been really into baking for about 3 years now. It started during a long winter when I needed something to do with my hands. Basically, what I do is experiment with bread recipes, sourdough mostly. It involves a lot of patience. You cannot rush bread. The best part is Sunday morning when the whole apartment smells like fresh bread, and I sit down with a coffee and feel like I actually made something real. For me, baking is more than just food. It's a kind of meditation.
Wow, I want to know more about your bread. I want to come to your apartment on Sunday.
See? That's what a good hobby answer does. It creates an invitation. It makes the other person want to know more, want to be part of your world.
And you used so many of those phrases naturally, I barely noticed them. They just sounded like you talking.
That's the goal. Practice the phrases until they feel like your own voice, not like phrases from a podcast. Now let's talk about projects, because many people are working on something exciting, a creative project, a business idea, a personal goal, and they have no idea how to talk about it naturally in English.
Like my recording project. I am working on it, but when someone asks me about it, I just say, yes, I am working on some music, and that is it.
Ha! Some music. Very mysterious, very vague. Let's fix that. Here are phrases for talking about projects naturally.
Please.
First, I am currently working on something. For example, I am currently working on a short film about street musicians in my city. Or I am currently working on building my own website from scratch.
Currently working on. That sounds active, in progress, not finished, but moving.
Yes, it communicates momentum. Second, I have been working on something for a period of time and it is going somewhere. For example, I have been working on this recording project for about 8 months now and it is finally starting to come together.
It is finally starting to come together. That phrase is so natural.
Very natural. It communicates that the project has been a journey and that you are near something exciting. Third, the idea behind it is something. For example, the idea behind the project is to capture voices that people walk past every day without noticing.
The idea behind it, that invites the person to understand your vision, not just your activity.
Yes, and the vision is always more interesting than the activity. Fourth, it is still in the early stages, but something. For example, it is still in the early stages, but I'm really excited about where it's going.
So you can talk about a project even if it's not finished. You do not have to wait until you have something to show.
Absolutely not. The process is interesting. The idea is interesting. The struggle is interesting. You do not need a finished product to have a great conversation about a project.
And fifth.
Fifth, what I'm hoping to do with it is something. For example, what I'm hoping to do with it is turn it into a small exhibition next year. Or what I'm hoping to do with it is release it online and see what kind of response I get.
The future intention, that gives the project a direction, a destination.
And it also invites the other person into your future, which is a very warm and connecting thing to do. Okay, Leo, let's practice. Tell me about your recording project using some of these phrases.
Okay, I'm currently working on a recording project that I have been building for about a year now. The idea behind it is to write and record songs that capture that feeling of being in a big city, but feeling very alone in it. It is still in the early stages, but it's starting to come together slowly. What I'm hoping to do with it is release it online, maybe by the end of the year.
Leo, that is excellent. That is a real answer. Now I'm genuinely interested. What instruments? What does the sound feel like? Is it sad? Beautiful?
Ha! See, I have so much to say. I just needed the framework to start.
The framework gives you the starting point, and once you start, the words follow naturally. Okay, we have learned how to talk about our own hobbies and projects, but good conversation is two-way, so let's also learn how to ask about someone else's hobbies in a natural and engaging way.
Because how you ask matters as much as what you ask.
Exactly. The standard question, what are your hobbies, is a little stiff actually, a little formal. Here are more natural ways to ask. First, what do you get up to outside of work? This is very casual and British. It means, what do you do in your free time?
What do you get up to? I love that phrase.
Second, is there anything you are really into right now? This is open and inviting. It gives them permission to talk about anything they're currently excited about.
Right now, so even something they just started, not just long-term hobbies.
Yes. Third, are you working on anything interesting at the moment? This is perfect for creative and ambitious people, and it signals that you are interested in their projects, not just their passive hobbies.
This would have been a great question for me at that networking event. If someone had asked me this instead of the standard hobby question, I might have answered better.
Possibly. Fourth, what do you do to switch off? This is a warm and empathetic question. It acknowledges that life is busy, and it invites them to share something personal and restorative.
What do you do to switch off? That would open a very different kind of conversation than what are your hobbies?
Much more personal, much warmer. And fifth, after someone shares their hobby, always follow up. Say, how did you get into that? Or what do you love most about it? Or is that something you have always done? These questions invite the other person to go deeper, to tell you the real story.
The follow-up questions are what take a conversation from surface level to something real.
Always. A question without a follow-up is like a door you open halfway. Open it fully. Let the conversation walk through. Vocabulary Tour. 8 words and phrases from today's episode, all perfect for talking about hobbies and projects.
And these are all phrases I am going to use this week. Finally.
Word 1, passionate. Having very strong feelings of enthusiasm or excitement about something.
Example, she is passionate about sustainable fashion and talks about it all the time. Or, when you talk about something you are passionate about, your whole energy changes.
Word 2, pursue. To continue doing something or following something with effort and determination.
Example, he decided to pursue photography as a serious hobby. Or, it takes courage to pursue a creative project without knowing the outcome.
Word 3, dedicated. Giving a lot of time and energy to something because you care about it deeply.
Example, she is really dedicated to her running. She trains 6 days a week. Or, you can tell he's dedicated to his craft by the quality of his work.
Word 4, momentum. The energy or force that builds up as something develops and progresses.
Example, the project is finally gaining momentum after months of slow progress. Or, once you start a creative project and build momentum, it becomes easier to continue.
Word 5, craft. A skill that takes time and practice to develop, often used for creative activities.
Example, he has spent years perfecting his craft as a woodworker. Or, writing is a craft. The more you practice, the better you become.
Word 6, rewarding. Giving a feeling of satisfaction or value, worth the effort you put in.
Example, learning to cook properly is challenging but incredibly rewarding. Or, teaching others what you know is one of the most rewarding things you can do.
Word 7, come together. When the different parts of something start to combine and form something good.
Example, after months of work, the project is finally starting to come together. Or, I could see the painting come together in the final hour. It was magical.
Word 8, outlet. A way of expressing feelings, energy, or creativity, especially when you need to release something.
Example, music is my outlet. When I'm stressed, I always reach for my guitar. Or, exercise is a great outlet for frustration and negative energy.
Action steps. 6 things you can do this week to practice talking about your hobbies and projects in English.
I am genuinely excited about these.
Step 1. Write down one hobby you love. Then write 3 sentences about it using the phrases from today. I have been really into, the best part is, for me, it is more than just.
Step 2. If you are working on a project, write 3 sentences about it. I am currently working on, the idea behind it is, what I am hoping to do with it is.
Step 3. Practice saying your hobby answer out loud. Stand in front of a mirror. Say it naturally. Time yourself. Aim for at least 45 seconds. A good hobby answer is never just one sentence.
Step 4. This week, when someone asks about your hobbies, give the full answer, not the one-word answer. Use at least 2 phrases from today.
Step 5. Ask someone else about their hobby using one of today's questions. What do you get up to outside of work? Are you working on anything interesting? And then ask a follow-up question.
Step 6. Write in the comments your hobby or project in 2 to 3 sentences using today's phrases. We want to read every single one, and we will genuinely reply.
Quick recap before we say goodbye.
Talking about your hobbies well is not just small talk, it is how you share who you are and how you create real connection with other people.
The problem with one-word answers, they give the other person nothing to hold on to, nothing to connect with.
To introduce a hobby, use phrases like, I am really into, I have been doing this for, it's kind of my thing, I got into it when.
To describe what you do, use basically what I do is, it involves, the best part is, what I love most about it is, for me, it's more than just.
To talk about a project, use I'm currently working on. The idea behind it is, it's still in the early stages, but what I'm hoping to do with it is.
To ask about others, use what do you get up to? Are you working on anything interesting? What do you do to switch off? And always ask a follow-up question.
And remember, you are already interesting. You just need the language to show it.
Our question for you today, what is your hobby or project? Tell us in the comments using 2 or 3 sentences from today's phrases. We cannot wait to read them.
And if this episode helped you, please like it, subscribe to World English Podcast, and share it with someone who has amazing hobbies but always undersells themselves in English.
This was World English Podcast. I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo. Until next time, talk about what you love, with the words you deserve, and let the world see how interesting you really are.
Bye, everyone. Go talk about something you love.